So hello, I'm Evita Stavrou. I'm a socio-cultural creative entrepreneur, and lately, after getting over my imposter syndrome, I also identify as a creative artist with main medium being paper, natural materials, and the interaction of human experience and how that is weaved together, either through our art, our approach with art, the way we work with our hands, and the way we interact with each other when we create or add our mark on a piece. As a socio-cultural entrepreneur, I've been running a variety of projects, from curating exhibitions, that is fostering the presentation of the work of others, and supporting their vision and work. At the same time, I've been supporting artists in finding their medium and their audience. And what intrigues me is community projects. Community project could be something as simple as bringing children together and exploring a new craft with their hands. It can also be a collective sculpture like the one that I'm holding, that it would take 60 individuals creating one unit and then the artist or crafter putting it together. I love origami as an origami artist because of its how versatile it is. It is a very versatile technique, and even though we all have connected origami with something that is extremely strict in shapes, in folds, in maths, in structure, here comes modular origami, that it is strict but it's also forgiving, that it does allow space for individuality within conformity of the pieces. Each of these pieces are together, I like to believe, by choice. I want to believe that even though they're not glued together forever, they choose to be to create this joint structure, to create this form. I didn't want to present something that would be perfect, something that I fully mastered, but rather showcase a process with its faults. We go from one square piece of paper, and sometimes Kosidama go from rectangle as well. There are the first folds, the second folds, and then we reach these units. If I take only 12 of these units, this, mind you, it's the same unit. 12 of these units would create this shape of this ball. Very solid, very together. A small group, like a small group of humans coming together. They usually say in theatre and in music ensembles that a group of 10 or 12 is easy to have group cohesion. And then I said, what if we go to a group of 60 units or 120 or 270? So I went to 60 units, and yes, it does come together. It needs, however, a different grouping. It doesn't come as easy, even though we have the same core values, the same shape. Our consistency at this point is fragile because me, the curator, the creator that brought it together, didn't have the expertise, didn't have the confidence to bring this form together that would be solid. So it's solid and fragile at the same time. And I believe that if we go to the 270 pieces form, it will become much more coherent because I will have this experience. And this form can be deconstructed in what would be chaos again to its basic units, which would be that. Then you would have 60 or 120 or 500 of these units that would look like nothing, and try to build it again. Does that make the whole, the system, the community, anything less if the shape changes? And it also gives me the narrative to support how do I see community art. I think that it's a great way, a great analogy to connect with societies and how we evolve. That sometimes, even though it seems obsolete, by creating these basic pieces and putting them there, we hope at some point they will come together by choice to form the structure of expression. I had an installation in the past, I call it BMI, Beach My Identity, Body Mass Index, It consisted of thousands of pieces folded that each of them would create a cube. Each cube would be connected to a larger form, and this form in the end would create a female dog. The size of that dog was quite big. And the idea of that piece was that in each cube within, there were written some ideas, some affirmations, some preconceptions that we have about gender identity, about personal identity, about our connection with who we are through our work, who we are through society, who we are through our family. And all these cubes were forming the shape of the beach, of this very strong female dog. And she was standing very strong and proud. And all these pieces, mind you, were never glued. So in any given point, one could say, but I can't remove this belief from my core, from my structure. Nothing is attached. Everything is fluid. We can always grow, either as a collective intelligence in society or as a creature, as an individual creature that evolves and grows within this concept. Yet, it was very obvious that if this belief is within the core of this animal, of this structure, in order to change it, to shift the narrative, to even approach it and look at it, because it is the one that gives us the form, we had to deconstruct the whole. We had to gut the shape of the beach out. And that meant that she would fall apart, break down, go back to chaos. And then you had a semi-formed animal and all the pieces scattered down. Yet, was she destroyed, the female dog? No, she wasn't. She was simply restructuring her beliefs. She was simply adjusting the ideas that were not serving her. And in a way, that was my narrative on the vision I have for society and how we grow and why we are hopeful that every generation is better than the other. And the idea of this project was that in 3 days that you stay within a gallery or a space, the community comes. And the first day, they create these ideas that connect to their identity, and the artist puts them in the shape. And then gradually, they try to change these ideas, and the shape changes all the time until it shifts again. Another peculiar part of this construction was that even though she was standing very strong on her feet as a proud female dog, after a week, she would cave from the weight of the paper. And the only way that that structure would be consistent and strong would be only if I would bring that bitch on her knees. She would have to kneel to hold the weight. And for me, that was a narrative around the female identity. Is this craft, is this art, I don't care about the labels. It is a craft, it's made by hand. Is it community? Yes, it is community because it is our collective intelligence. Does it give space for everyone to contribute? Yes. Is it the perfection of artistry? Is it the perfection of the fold that origami screams about and all the masters are doing when they go from one sheet of paper? No, but human nature is not perfection. And that's why I like this plasticity with this art form, and I think that's what I love about paper and origami, that I can't go in my individual research and go as deep in the perfection of the fold and one piece of paper making this perfect little thing that gives me my individual pleasure, that gives me my satisfaction of achievement, that I'm able to express the modularity of this medium and paper. Why did I choose paper? Why do I choose natural materials? I identify as an upcycling artist, crafter. I'm still having an issue using the word artist. And I tried metal. It's quite intriguing to touch. I explored it, and it's durable. It always showcases your work. It lasts through time. But I never fell in love with metal. Yet paper, wood, biomaterial, they breathe, they interact with your hands. And I'm not negating other crafts, it's just that I believe that each person finds the medium that expresses them, and my medium is paper, nature, things that die, things that pass away, things that disintegrate. I did have an installation in relation to the butterfly effect and the chaos theory and how that connects with gender-based violence. That even though the chaos theory states that fluttering a butterfly's wings won't really create a tornado, but it will create a micro-influence in a closed ecosystem that will eventually have an effect. And with that narrative, it is, even if we feel negated in this patriarchal society, in this violent world, in all this negative news, that does it really make a difference if I take a stand and I say that joke was not fun? Or does it really make a difference if I share a post or make an affirmation or tell to a woman, you know what, you look healthy, instead of, oh, you lost weight? Or to tell a guy that makes a rape joke, no, that's not funny. And yes, it is always the fault of the rapist and not what the victim was wearing. And sometimes you feel like, maybe I shouldn't say anything, but no, we should, because it does have an effect. It does have a ripple effect. And eventually, all the butterflies, all those movements will bring the change and will evolve the collective intelligence and will evolve our society. So that's what I love about bringing art, craft, a skill, and a narrative of a social project, of a social aspect that personally intrigues me and I'm personally invested in.